Welcome. Don't adjust your dial. Welcome everyone to the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. I'm your host Michael Pickering. That's right, Lo-Fi as in low fidelity, low quality, in your face, messy as can be global news show. Here we're going to talk about that famous question: what's going on in the world today? And it's Messy Monday, that fast-capped weekend recap, bringing you 10 fast-paced headlines from across the globe, and then a piece of humanity to send you on your way for the week. So let's hit it. The following three stories all come from Reuters World News. To an update in Belarus. Square of Change. A Belarus courtyard becomes an unlikely protest battleground. Protests in Belarus continue, and now have a focal point: the Square of Change. In a graffiti battle with the police, protesters in August painted a mural of two DJs that are fighting for freedom. This graffiti, in this square, has been painted over by authorities and repainted by artists more than a dozen times. It's become a symbol of inspiration and the struggle in Belarus. For our following story, we travel back to Rwanda for an update there. Rwanda seeks to merge Hotel Rwanda hero case with that of 18 rebel suspects. The latest update in the Paul Rusesabagina trial is now the government is trying to attach his case to that of illegal rebels, potentially increasing the possible sentence or severity of the charges. We'll keep you updated as we find out if this actually takes place, Lo-Fi listener. Now we travel to Ethiopia. Ethiopia bans flights over dam for security reasons, aviation's chief. This is an update to the dispute over the Nile River between Ethiopia, Sudan, and Egypt. Ethiopia built a dam, which appears complete, though not yet operational and generating electricity. Sudan and Egypt have long objected to this, citing it would restrict the flow of the Nile, which is vital for life in the two countries. Now it appears Ethiopia is stepping up security, though exactly why, we're not quite sure. And our following three stories all come from AP News International. We begin in the UK. Control over Venezuelan gold held in London cast into doubt. Now this is some true messiness here. This summer we talked about how the London Bank refused to give $2 billion in gold back to President Maduro of Venezuela, citing that the country recognizes Juan Guaido as the true president of the country. However, this new court ruling states that this matter needs to be investigated more thoroughly, and does potentially signal that Maduro might get his gold back. And $2 billion in gold, Lo-Fi Nation? That's no small matter for Venezuela. Our next story brings us to Poland. Under fire over LGBT rights, Polish leader blames activist. This is a really in-depth story here, one in which I cannot sum up in 5 minutes. Interested people should definitely read the full print. We previously talked about towns in Poland declaring themselves free of LGBT ideology, and discussed signs that are appearing. The Prime Minister of Poland is accusing an LGBT activist of spreading falsehoods, whereas the activist accuses the government of supporting discriminatory laws. We'll keep you updated as this unfolds during the week, Lo-Fi listeners. Now we head over to an update in the Caucasus regions. Armenia and Azerbaijan clash as Iran works on peace plan. The short version: things are getting worse here. Iran borders both countries and is trying, like much of the international community, to help broker peace. Azerbaijan's president has stated the fighting will continue until Armenia leaves the occupied Nagorno-Karabakh region, while Armenia alleges that Azerbaijan has begun attacking cities within its own borders. Realize one simple truth, Lo-Fi Nation: this conflict doesn't take a break on the weekends like we do. Let's hope the two sides come together soon to bring about peace. And our final four stories all come from the BBC, Africa Live, Middle East, Asia, and Australia sections, respectively. We begin in the African nation of Lesotho. Lesotho Twitter users could be classified as broadcasters. The government is proposing new regulations that would label any Twitter user with over 100 followers as an internet broadcaster. And then they would have to register with the government and follow broadcasting regulations in the country. This is a scary move, people. This is an incredibly low number for an incredibly high amount of government regulation. We'll keep you updated for sure moving forward. Next up, we travel to the Middle East. Lebanon and Israel to hold historic maritime border talks. This could be big, as both countries claim conflicting areas of the sea as part of their sovereign territory, and those areas hold valuable natural resources, which both countries could benefit from a lot. The United Nations are hosting these talks, which are set to take place in the second half of October. Our next story, we go to Central Asia. Kyrgyzstan elections. Protests erupt in Bishkek over vote rigging claims. That's right, countrywide parliamentary elections took place on Sunday, and the people didn't like what they saw. so they took to the streets of the capital to let their voices be heard. 16 parties ran for the parliament seats. Only 4 managed to get any. International election monitors reported instances of intimidation and vote buying. But furthermore, Lo-Fi Nation, the electoral threshold for gaining entry into parliament for any political party is 7% of the vote. That is a pretty high threshold, and generally made to keep smaller parties out of government. This is another situation that will keep our eyes open and ears to the ground. And a last piece of news to send you on your way for the day. To Australia we go, because there's always good news from down under. The story, Tasmanian Devils reintroduced into Australian wild. And what did I say? Always beautiful things happening. You see, Tasmanian Devils haven't been on the Australian mainland for almost 3,000 years, theoretically due to hunting from dingo packs. But now, the Tasmanian Devils are making a comeback, with 26 individuals being introduced to a sanctuary north of Sydney. And the pictures are simply adorable. And don't be fooled by the name. Experts say these beautiful creatures are harmless to humans and agriculture. Well done, Australia, helping our endangered Tasmanian Devils getting back to the outback. And that's a brief snapshot of what's going on in the world today. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode of Top 10 Most Corrupt Countries on the Planet. Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Write in with questions or comments to lofipolisci@planetmail.com. Thanks for listening. Stay safe. Wash those hands. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. Pickering, signing off. A special word to you Lo-Fi listeners out there. I know when you look around us, it can be disheartening. But never lose faith in us. Always remember the we that we be. These aren't words of inspiration. These are free words. These are your words. I'm just that voice in the void calling out to you, saying, you're never alone.